To understand which stone, what are the characteristics which will give you the best possible result, I would like to invite today a very well known, renowned person in this industry who has been very, very knowledgeable, Mr. Rahul Desai ji from IIG. I would just like to give a synopsis on him. Mr. Rahul Desai, director at IIG, is serving gems and jewelry industry with his expertise on diamonds and gems over more than 2 decades. As an educational consultant and mentor, he has given the industry best trained professionals. Navgraph gems, 9 planetary gems, have always influenced human mankind and have been a prominent part of astrology since ages. But power behind these gems, their inner secrets, are enormous, along with their blissful beauty. I would like to welcome Mr. Rahul Desai on stage to give us a light on all these aspects of gemstones, sir. Thank you very much for taking time out. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, sir, for the nice introduction. So, power of 9 planetary gemstones. I'm sure all who are sitting here, out of them 50% of the person must be wearing some or other stones, right? Are you wearing? Can you raise hand? Okay, not 50%, but in Bangalore it is less or what? Oh, so there is a big market for gemstones. Madan. Okay. So today we are going to learn about the Navratnas. Navratna is a Sanskrit word. Actually, it's the 2 words, Nav and Ratnas. Nav means the number 9, and Ratnas means in Sanskrit it is known as a gemstones. So 9 precious gemstones, it is called as Navratnas, and this is a belief, it is ancient belief, it is not today's made up thing, like 100 years or 50 years back, people has made it like a birthstones, and every decade or every 5 years they're adding some or other stones. This is a selling gimmick. But this is not like that. The Navratnas actually, if you search the history, it is in the Vedas and ancient scriptures and books. You will find in Hinduism, in Buddhism, even in Quran. If you see, there are a lot of mention about this Navratnas, about these gemstones. So it is not an ordinary gemstones for sure. It is already mentioned in ancient scriptures. It is always believed that it offers a range of lot of benefits to the wearer. Each gemstone possessing a different energy. As this gentleman has nicely said, like for study, you should wear green emerald for the Buddha, same way. And it holds immense healing power. This is where the actually Navgraph come. The healing power, you know, that these all gemstones, it's pertaining to certain color, it's pertaining to certain planet, it's representing some planets. And what it does actually, it is having a lot of a different power, healing power, okay? So this way, the Navgraph comes. So which are the 9 planetary stones? I think you all must be knowing this little bit about the 9 planetary stones. The ruby, diamond, coral, emerald, cat's eye. We have 2 sapphires, yellow sapphires and blue sapphire. Garnet, but more specifically, garnet is a very huge family. But in that, the hazelnut garnet and pearl. These are the 9 planetary stones, what we are going to touch base today. So 9 famous gemstones. It's actually linked with the 9 planetary planets, adequate planets in the solar system. So astrologers suggest these stones to wear. You must have always approached to astrologer to understand which stone is good for you. It is depend on your horoscope. So astrologer suggests the gemstones with the numerous like benefits to get, like health benefit or career or education, relationships, and this is the list actually what we have, and for that these are the Navratnas. I'm sure you must have come across these stones, right? So which are the best gemstones or your loved gemstones? Can you tell me? Anyone? And why? We'll keep it a little interactive session because this is the like post-lunch session, so it has to be interactive. Anyone? I like diamond the most. Yeah, what about you? Blue sapphire. Oh. Okay, it either take you high or it just throw you in dump, huh? It's not like that. It's actually a science behind it. It's a science. And here you can see all the gemstones representing any of the planet. Like if you see ruby, it represents the planet sun. So if you have any adverse effect of the sun on your horoscope, for that astrologer suggests you to wear ruby. So it's a science, it's a hypothetical science, but it's a belief and it works also very well. Also some part of the world also says this is a color theory, color therapy. So if you are lacking some certain color in your horoscope or in your birth chart, then you have to wear that color, and that color represents the stones. Okay, so here we are going a little detail in that. It's a hypothetical science. It's like very subjective. It's not like what goes well for you, it will also go well for me. It's not like that. And it's why we are believing in this. Anyone knows that why still today we are wearing the gemstones? We feel, okay, it's helping us, it's really improving our lifestyle, or it shows the lifestyle symbol. But why? Because it's an ancient sages has already told these are the ratnas, and it's an indication of our deeds. Okay, where there is a need of understanding astrology. So why we all want to know astrology? Why? Because everyone likes to know about the future deeds, right? What is going to be in my life in further. So for that, for the astrology, it's a science also. It's a it's a study. Everyone does that, and we follow that astrology. It's desire to make our life better, and unknowingly or knowingly, what is going to happen in our life, if we come to know, at least we can save ourselves from that. Like maybe the occurring some loss in future, we will save ourselves from that. Okay, so it's a positive and negative influences of these stones. Fortunes and miseries both can be found out from the stones. Okay, ways to negate the negative influences. There are a lot of ways we can negate this negative influences on our lifestyle. So what they do, astrologer will tell you to wear some particular stones, or to according to your horoscope, according to your color therapy, they will suggest you some stones. You have to offer some donations and offerings to the needy people, which gives the good deed to you, and ultimately it will fulfill your psychological or any physiological needs. So this is all the science behind this. How this gemstone actually works? So there's a rays which is coming from the planet, which falls on your gemstones. Always astrologer says that gemstone should touch your finger, particularly that finger, it should be touching. So that rays falls on the gemstones, and that rays again will imitate some energy to your body. So this way, actually these Navgrahas and gemstone works. So it's a say that it gives the physiological or psychological needs fulfilled. But actually it's a science behind it, it's a belief behind it. Here in seminar, what I'm going to teach, it's not actually the astrology or horoscopical thing, but I will be more putting stress on the science of gemology and in the relation with the astrology. Any questions? Okay, let us go ahead. So gemstones corresponding to the planet sun is ruby. I'm sure everyone knows about these planets and gemstones. So ruby is nothing but the aluminum oxide with the presence of chromium, and the chromium actually gives the color red to the rubies. Ruby in Latin also known as ruba, which means red. And ruby represent the family corundum. In entire corundum family, the only stone red which is having a special category as a ruby. Anyone knows that why it is having a special category? It is not going in the corundum family, or all the sapphires are also in corundum family, but red color corundum is known as ruby. Because from the ancient, the beauty of ruby is established, and everyone separate that stone as a separate identity. So that is the way the ruby has a separate category, and it represents the planet sun. The hardness of this is 9. It is measured under the Mohs scale. I think we are not going in detail of that particular thing, but Mohs scale is a hardness scale. And the best quality of rubies, we always heard about the Myanmar or Burma. The Burmese ruby are the best. So the color of the ruby can vary. It is not like all the rubies should be red only. It's not like that. Whatever we are getting, it's a color zones, it's a color variety. What we get, it's more or less a range from the bright red to the dark reddish brown. It's the range of that color. And most preferred color for the ruby is deep blood red and with a slightly bluish tinge or a hue, what you can say. So it is the best preferred color. Also in a gemological terminology, you must have heard a lot of certificates and you must have read a lot of certificates. So it is a term called pigeon's blood red. It's nothing but this deep blood red and with a slight bluish hue. So that is called as a pigeon blood red. So it is from Burma, and from the ancient like 600 BC, it is only and only mine which creates this quality rubies, that is from Burma. It is in Mogok and other region of the Burma. This is the ruby rough. When we get any gemstones, it is not in the shining or the lusty format. It is always like a pebble or the stones. It has some crystal system. This rubies is under the trigonal crystal system. And after the cutting and polishing process, we will get the polished ruby. So it's a trigonal crystal system. So these are the rubies after the cutting and polishing. Out of these, one is like natural ruby and another is synthetic ruby. This is the question of a time today. A lot of people pay a handsome money and try to get a good quality of ruby. Ultimately what happened after some years, after some months or years, when it get little pale or maybe when you get it tested with your some gemologist friend or something, you will come to know this is synthetic ruby. So this is the pain point of our industry. Like the ethical business should be happen. If you know this ruby is synthetic, it should not be sold as a natural ruby. So how to understand? For that, the physical examination is very much important. The gemological study, what you have to do, like it cannot be like in-depth like 1 year, 2 year, but also the technicalities of the gemstones, which can be fetched in some number of hours. So that should be there. The practical examination of the gemstones should be done, and you should know exactly what to see in that particular gemstones. So here in the natural ruby and the synthetic ruby, we'll see what kind of inclusion comes. This is also a synthetic bowl. So these are the natural ruby, and in that you will always see angular, straight or hexagonal growth structure. So this is the like little technical and gemological terms. But once you study for number of hours, you can also easily make out under the 10x loop, under the microscope. These are easily understandable features. Angular and straight or hexagonal growth structure, fingerprint. This is the actually picture of the fingerprint and unaltered epic mineral inclusions. These are the inclusions actually that helps gemologists to understand whether the ruby is natural or synthetic. I will also explain you which kind of inclusion comes under the synthetic gemstones, synthetic ruby. Like synthetic flux inclusion will be always there present if you see under the microscope. The curved striations, the gas bubble, it is very, common inclusion one can see in the synthetic rubies. And the wave pattern, if it is a hydrothermal growth process, these are the growth process under which the synthetic ruby are manufactured or processed. So signs of treated rubies, like almost all the rubies what we find now, which are not of the gem quality but the medium and the lower quality, are always heat treated. Now what is that heat treated? Like external heat is given to that gemstone to enhance the beauty color, actually the color of that gemstone. So that is called heat treated, which is also a permanent treatment, and it is irreversible. It cannot be reversed to the again to natural form. So always you will see the rubies are heat treated with the borax or the other flux material. And rubies are also glass filled. Nowadays, it's like a glass filled ruby you can see many a time in a local market. So a lot of jewelry people also for the budget jewelry, they use glass filled rubies. So this is the heat treated ruby picture. I think the picture's quality is not so clean, but one can understand the fissures and the fractures are opened up, and also this is a glass fill also, the gas bubble also one can see easily. So that is a glass fill. Nowadays the glass fill ruby, it is also written in a certain certificate as a natural ruby. Though it is a natural ruby, it doesn't fetch that value because it's a glass fill, and it's such it is a glass fill, like 70-80% of that entire ruby is made of glass. Composite ruby, in market is very common terms, people say composite ruby. That means it is a ruby, just 10%, 80-90% is just glass. So you are paying for glass. So this is the common practice of the certification also. They write natural ruby, but they don't mention the treatments. Many certificate, I'm not talking about the international or high-end certificates, but in a local what you get sometimes, it is not mentioning the treatment of the ruby, though the material is natural. So this is the pain point one customer has to understand. So when the seller is selling that ruby, so the common question one customer should ask, okay, it's a natural ruby, any treatment done on it or not, whether the color is enhanced or not. These kind of questions can save you a lot of money. So what happened, when you are asking these kind of questions, the person who is selling will understand, I cannot do ethically wrong, or I cannot hide the things when he is asking, right? Are we going proper or the little fast it is? Fast? Okay. So actually what is the astrological importance of ruby? That it's a birthstone of July, it's a sale as a birthstone also. It's also a remedy for a lot of diseases like hemorrhage and inflammatory, and it's extreme debilation of the planet sun. Moving towards the next gemstone, which is representing the planet Jupiter, yellow sapphire. How many of you know that where exactly the yellow sapphire sails? Which countries yellow sapphire sails? Which countries? And where are the wearers of yellow sapphires? Ceylon, okay. The Ceylon is the place where we get the yellow sapphires, and highest sale of yellow sapphire is only in India. It's only in India. The only buyers of India actually makes the price of yellow sapphire. Otherwise, it is same as other sapphires than blue. It will not fetch that price what right now the price of yellow sapphire. Because yellow sapphire is actually worn for the guru. You know, like a lot of, there are good aspects for what yellow sapphire is worn. So this is the yellow sapphire, and as a single producer, everyone knows that Ceylon, Sri Lanka. And I can tell you because last year only we had a IIG student trip to Sri Lanka, and it was really amazing country, very friendly country, and we have seen the mines from like very local level to the highest level of the mines. So looking at the mining process and this, actually these gemstones are really worth buying it when you see the effort of the miner, you know. So I think whoever is a gemstone lover, they should at least visit one mine in your lifetime. So you will understand exactly what you are dealing in. It's so painful to get it out, extract from the Mother Earth. So this is the rough yellow sapphire. It comes under this trigonal format, pseudo-hexagonal or trigonal format. And when it is cut and polished, it is turned into the polished gemstones. So how to identify, again I'm just coming to the main point, which is the natural yellow sapphires and synthetic yellow sapphires. One very interesting point is here that it's expensive and synthetic yellow sapphires are really less expensive. If you see the first picture I show you, if this purity, this clarity and this color, yellow sapphire, it goes under the 5 figures in rupee if I'm talking about, or the 6 figures. But the same, if it is synthetic, it will not run up to that 2 to 3 figures also. So sometimes you get that kind of alertness also, that it is natural or not. But again, it's not the only parameter. The minor flaws on the surface always there for yellow sapphire because it has a wear and tear. And apparently the synthetic one, when they produce something, they produce very best quality. So synthetic one, apparently it is the flawless. This is a very common feature. Without any 10x or without any microscope, you can try it out. That always when the natural gemstones, when you touch, it gives you a feeling of like cool. It's a cool gemstones. But when it's a not natural gemstone, it is always a warm. You'll feel the warm. The gemstone which are having a highest hardness, as I told you, what is the hardness of sapphires or the corundum family? What is the hardness? 9. Higher the hardness, better the luster. So diamond is the best luster one can produce in gemstone. Why? Because diamond has the highest hardness, that is 10. There is nothing above 10. Okay? And this is not just one number, 9 and 10. But diamond is 40 times harder than ruby or any sapphires. So the hardness is relative hardness. So when you study this gemology, you will understand. So when you have a hardest gemstones in your hand, it can cut and polish nicely. So it give you a best luster as well. Natural yellow sapphires inclusions and synthetic yellow sapphire inclusions. The moment you see under the loop or under the microscope, the inclusion differs. You know, the natural yellow sapphires will have features and this kind of effects, and the synthetic yellow sapphire will have a lot of hazy and the milky features. So what is the astrological importance of yellow sapphires? It increases the vibratory frequencies of Jupiter. So it is good for the professors, philosophers, politicians. You will always see all the politicians wearing big sapphires, yellow sapphires. And also medically, like how it cures the kidney problems, jaundice and other medical problems as well. And people who is having a weak Jupiter in their horoscope, normally they prefer to wear yellow sapphires. Okay, back to the another sapphire, that is a blue sapphire. And Sunny, everyone knows that it's representing the planet Saturn, and we normally call in our language like Shani Mahadasha, correct? So as this gentleman said, like it can give you the rise like anything, or it can make you fall also. So only like recommended by your astrologers only, then only you should wear. It is very difficult gemstone to handle. This is the rough blue sapphire. Blue sapphire is nothing but made of aluminum oxide and with the presence of iron and titanium. This also falls under the corundum family. Hardness again same, the 9, and the crystal system is also trigonal. This is a rough stone picture. I deliberately kept this to show you the triangular marks on it, which actually gives you the trigonal system, crystal system. So how to identify again between the natural sapphires and synthetic sapphires? I will show you the picture also. Then the natural, you will see the slow crystallization and fingerprint inclusion. This is the most patterned inclusion you can see in the sapphires. And in synthetic sapphire, you will see the curved striation and bubbles like inclusions. Always blue sapphire, which is natural, will have a reddish tinge and the twinning lines, where the synthetic will be having a fiber optic lighting. In a blue sapphire, whether it is cut or whether it is rough, you will always see the hexagonal pattern, angular lines. Here you can see in the natural sapphire, there is an angular lines, hexagonal pattern, and here you will see the striations, which is like curved striation, which only gives you the one direction of that striations. The most important, another thing is like color zoning. If you concentrate on the color, the natural gemstones will be always having color zoning. There should be a lesser or a higher variety of colors, you know. You can see the light blue to dark blue, it varies. It's not the uniform color all over the stones. But in the synthetic, it is always uniform. So that also gives you a signal that which is not a natural sapphire. This is also a synthetic bowl. Out of that, they can cut and polish the stones. Now, what is the astrological presence of the Saturn? It represents Saturn. It's increased the patience level of a person. Also, it's recommended to wear during your Shani Sarasati or something like that, what do you say, the Saturn complex period, and it cures the long chronic disease of the bones and the lower limbs. Going to the next gemstone, any questions you have between the ruby and sapphires? Because it's a corundum family we are getting over. Any questions? Let us move to the next planet, next gemstones, which is representing planet Mercury, which is emerald. I think a lot of people must be wearing for name, fame, and education. They must wear this emerald. Here you can spot which is the emerald. Can anyone say? The right or the left? Which is the emerald? Okay, but this look more beautiful, doesn't it? Why? Do you have a mic there? That lady. This side, extreme.
Left side is the natural.
Okay.
That's a synthetic.
Any particular reason why you say this is natural?
In emerald, always it's inclusions will be there.
Emerald, there is always inclusions.
That's the clear one.
And this is very crystal clear. Correct. Right answer. Because emerald without inclusion is not possible. It will always, whether it is best clarity emerald also, it will have a liquid filled inclusion for sure. So emerald, it's always, we will see, it always has a inclusions. So this is the demonted garnet actually. Nowadays it is also very famous and very popular and also having a high value. So what I'm talking here with the emerald, like it's always together with the precious gemstones, or we can say Navratna, that is always connected with some kind of a simulant. What is simulant? Simulant is nothing but the gems which are the look-alike gemstones, which look like that main gemstones or look like an emerald. They call as a simulant. They are also our gemstones, but pertain to another family, different family, but having the same kind of a appearance and color. So these are the simulant for emerald, like green tourmaline, aventurine quartz, green onyx, savorite. These are the simulants, look alike like an emerald. Sometimes astrologer or your supplier can give you aventurine quartz for the emerald, and the price difference is huge. So this is the emerald rough gemstone and the polished gemstone. This is the green tourmaline. You can see the almost similar look alike kind of a thing of emerald, which is very clean, but the tourmaline will not have much of inclusions, though the emerald will have. So that is a clear indication. Aventurine quartz, which I told you, like it's a very easily available gemstone, not having so much price also. It's in hundreds or in thousands, not more than thousands a carat. It's a very cheap gemstone also, which can be replaced with the emerald. Green onyx, it is also not in 3 figures, it's in 2 figures per carat, and it can give you a lot of carved and other gemstones as well in onyx. So these are the simulant for emeralds. And savorite. Savorite is also one of the rarest species, which is also used as a gemstones. So how to identify emerald from the different gemstones? So crystal system, which is one thing, the emerald will have the hexagonal crystal system. And internal inclusion and surface characteristics like inclusion and blemishes will point out whether it is an emerald or not. And also, like as a gemologist, as a gemological study, what we are doing, we will always check the SG, specific gravity, and RI, refractive index of the gemstone. If it is matches with the emerald, it is emerald. These are the rough gemstones. And the best of the best emerald one can get from which countries? Colombia and Zambia. Okay, the African countries. So Colombia is the best of the best emerald one can get. This is a emerald rough. Emerald rough, also the green color, it's a hexagonal crystal system. Emerald falls under the beryl family, and it's a presence of chromium and vanadium. There are two presence of the different mineral which gives the green color, and according to the present, they give the light green to dark green tones. And the Colombian and Brazilian emeralds are the highest there in the market. Also very important feature of emerald, there is a three-phase inclusion. Inclusion which having air, gas and the crystal, like a solid, all three phase can be found in one gemstone, it is emerald. And before 5 years, 10 years, this inclusion was eminent inclusion for the Colombian emerald. But nowadays, the research said this inclusion can found in any part of the world, emerald as well. So we cannot say this is a Colombian emerald only. So what are the difference between the natural emerald and synthetic emerald? I'm not going into the all the slides. Okay. So the main important thing, when it is a synthetic emerald, due to the flux growth what emerald has, it is always shines red under the UV light. So this is a very common UV light every gemologist will have. Under the UV light, if it turns red, then it is a synthetic emerald. So what are the importance of emerald? Because it's a sun sign of Gemini and Virgo, it's represent planet Mercury, and when we have a weak Mercury, you have to wear this stone, and it is also gives you the power of speech and concentration. So for education, a lot of people wears this. Now coming to the very famous gemstones of the world, that is diamond, which is also my passion and very, very close to my heart. So I am actually a diamond professor, and I know very little about gemstones, but given an opportunity, I will not, I will not go down. So I'm doing these slides. So what are the diamonds? Anyone knows? Diamond is the most hardest mineral over the earth. No other mineral having the hardness of diamond. Once again we are saying, when the diamond found, it is always in rough form, and it is in cubic crystal system, which is a closed form. Again, that makes the diamond harder. It is very difficult to cut and polish a diamond. Only a diamond can cut and polish a diamond, but nowadays the technology plays an immense role, and with the laser technology we can cut diamond as well. So when it cut and polish, it gives you the luster which is known as adamantine luster, and which is the highest level of luster one gemstone can have ever. No other gemstones can have a luster what the diamond has. 99.95% pure carbon. If you have seen all the chemical formulas of other gemstones, it is always a combination of 2 or 3 elements. But here only one element, that is carbon. Diamond is nothing but made of carbon, 99.95%. One of the hardest substance, and it is actually get birth under the earth where there is a highest temperature and extreme pressure. Do you know what is the temperature there when the diamond get formed from carbon to diamond? Anyone? Where diamond get formed? Under the earth, 250 kilometers beside the earth, and 40 to 60 kilobar of the pressure is there, and the temperature is like 1500 to 1800 Celsius degree, and it's fall under the cubic system. What is the 0.05%? It is nothing but the other trace minerals which actually gives you the color to that particular gemstone. The diamond is always colorless, but because of this impurities, 0.05% only, it gives the color. There are the impurities like nitrogen or boron. Nitrogen gives the yellow color to the diamond, and boron gives the blue color. And other colors which we found, like fancy colors, if you must have seen the pink or the brown or other colors, it is nothing but the structural irregularities, that's the crystal lattice disturbance that creates the color actually. Now coming towards the value point of diamond, we all know there are the 4 C's. Diamond has the 4 C's, yeah, correct? Clarity, cut, color, carat. Everyone knows. But here I have written the carat first, then color, then clarity, and then cut. So these are the actually the chronological way which I have mentioned in the way the price factor depends. The diamond, the bigger the diamond, the more the price. Always the carat is very important for diamonds, then the color, then the clarity, and the lastly the cut. So this way it actually works for the diamond, but it doesn't mean it works for all the gemstones. In the gemstone, all the other gemstones than diamond, what is the most important which is the most important out of this? If we say the ruby, which is the most important whether it is carat or whether it is clarity? Clarity?
Clarity.
Gemstone is also known as, I'm not taking much of your time, gemstone is also known as color stone. Why? What is the important? The color of that gemstone. So whatever the chronological, what is the aspect or the value aspect, the color is the foremost important for any gemstone. Okay? If it is a 100 carat ruby, but it doesn't have that pigeon red blood color, it has no use. Correct? Color, the transparency, the clarity, all are important, but the color is the most important factor. Diamond can be found in all the colors. All colors other than colorless, browns and yellow is known as fancy color diamonds. These are the yellow diamonds and blue diamonds, highly available in market, and which fetch like maybe 10 times or 100 times than a colorless diamond also. The price can be in multiples. Why? Because there are the most rare color naturally formed. So again, we have a synthetic diamonds coming here in the market. So what is that? It is known as a lab-grown diamonds. There are two, actually, you must have attended the seminars for this. So there are two processes where the diamonds are get formed, HPST and CVD. And mostly, it can be a yellowish or now the colorless diamond also can be easily available. And it has some hourglass pattern. It's a growth pattern of the stones. I can explain you, but it's a little bit, what is it, technical. So hourglass pattern will always there because the growth structure is like such for this particular lab-grown diamonds. And also it has a metallic flux. We'll see the comparison. The natural diamond will have a natural inclusions, where the synthetic diamonds will have the very different inclusion, like a metallic flux, metallic inclusions. Always natural diamond will have blue fluorescence in LW, but short wave and long wave, but lab-grown diamond will have green fluorescence in short wave. So this is the thing, hourglass pattern will be shown in the synthetic and no such pattern will be seen in the natural diamond. But this is not with the naked eye one can understand. It need a very highly equipped and all the instruments to understand this kind of a patterns. So like practical study is very important to understand whether the diamond is natural or synthetic. Relationship, it's like for that also people wear. It's having a cinematography and material achievement, and also for the medical, it solves the problem of weak uterus and diabetes. Now coming to the stone, which is actually organic stones from the living organs, we get these pearls. So whether it represents the planet moon, are these pearls are natural or cultured? This is a big question of the market. Like if you say the highest number of pearls which are right now there in the market are the cultural pearls, not the natural pearls. Natural pearls means that process which make the pearls, which create the pearls, it is naturally occurred. I will just jump to the natural pearls and culture pearls difference. The natural pearls are formed due to accident. It is a natural process where the culture pearls are actually developed and controlled. They have like how we have a poultry farm, they have farms for the producing the pearls. It occurs due to the sand particle which enters and become the irritant in the nucleus, and where here the soft tissues or the bead we deliberately insert in the mother of pearl. So this is the deliberate process, this is the natural process. And what happens, natural pearl shows a growth line always, which is a concentrical circles of nacre. It's always in circular format, where the culture pearl shows the perfectly rounded nucleus with a coiling and thin outlayer thin. So the layer, what it creates, it's very thin, but the natural pearl has a very hard and big layers. There are the different types of mollusks which are providing different pearls as well. The Pincata maxima, Pincata fucata, I'm not going much in detail. So what is important in pearl, the important in pearl is not the size of the pearl. I'll again mind you, I'm just giving you key points. The importance in the pearl is not the size of that pearl, but the outer layer, the shine of that pearl, which is known as orient. That is very important. If the orient is good, if the shine is good, the pearl is good. The pearl price actually depend on not on the size, but it depend on the orient and the size of the nacre, the naturally formed the layers after layer. That is, it's important. The pearl are made of nothing but the calcium carbonate, and as I told you, when irritant accidentally enters the mollusk and it creates the layers around it, it coats it because it will not disturb his things. So that is form the pearl. There are different colors of pearl. It can be cream, white, light gray, rose, which is also known as pink, and also the black Tahitian pearl. There are different colors. Same as way, there are different types of pearls, like also the KC pearl, natural Basra pearls, or the South Sea pearls. It also depends on the size of the pearl, particular like 6 mm to 11 mm. These are the sizes that are available in market for pearls. But for the South Sea, it can also go up to 14, 15, 16 mm as well. There are different shapes of the pearls. The pearl price are also depend on the shape of the pearl. It can be half round, rob, baroque, and also there are some very different elements which are added here. Like it's like a antique baroque pearl, which creates a very different kind of jewelry as well. So what is the astrological importance of the pearl? Actually, it increases the vibratory power of the moon, and people with a waning moon, it's recommended to wear a pearl. And pearl solves the problems like depression, asthma, weak mind, and even insanity. Next planet, next gemstones, what we are going to learn is about Munga, pearl, the coral, which represent the gemstone, represent the planet Mars. This is the coral reef actually. How it get created under the ocean. It is a coral reef. This is a living thing actually. It's a skeleton of the living thing, which is nothing but the coral. We find this coral region like deep water corals in African coral, Bahamas, Island and Queensland. This kind of a island only will find the coral. Now what is a coral? It's a skeleton of an organism. Chemical composition again calcium carbonate. It can be a flesh pink, pale deep, rose red, salmon pink. These are the colors, or also the dark ox and the blood red. These are the two colors which are more preferable for the coral. The hardness of the coral is 3.5 to 4 only, which is like having a effect like a wax only. You can just cut from the nail. It's possible that you can get it cut. So it doesn't have that kind of a hardness. So here the two best example of the coral what I have given here, Jasna ox blood red and Mediterranean ox blood. So these are the two very famous category of the corals. Anyone knows like coral comes from which countries? Mostly Italian and Japanese, correct. So these are the astrological importance. It's a very hot gem. It improves the Mars and best ways to channelize your excess energy, and it has a very good healing properties as well. Coming to the dragon's head, the planet, and which represent by the Hazonite garnet. Garnet is a very big family, but in that the cinnamon color that is known as Hazonite garnet. This is the garnet as well. It's a group of silicates and it falls under the cubic system, same as diamond. The hardness of this garnet is 6.5 to 7.5. It varies. The chemical formula is Fe3Al2Si3O2L. So there are the different types of garnet, and it mainly separated by the different physical optical properties. Like physical properties, they vary in little bit hardness. Optical properties, they vary in color. Like almandine garnet, Dimontan garnet, savorite, chrysolite, rhodolite, and spessartine garnet. But what we use as an astrological purpose is not all of them, but only Hazonite garnet, which is having a cinnamon color. Or in our, what's the Hinduism, it is known as the Gomutra color. Gomed, it is also known as Gomed. This is the Hazonite garnet picture. astrological relevance, it has a dragon head represent, symbolize unusual luck, and it's help you to getting rid of the debt. So these are the says and belief what we are there in market. The last but very important gemstone is like a dragon tail, Ketu, which is also represented by the gemstone cat's eye. The cat's eye is nothing but the chrysoberyl family, and which is having a orthorhombic crystal system. It's having a very different crystal system. It is having a crisscross striation and which gives you the actual cat's eye effect. These are the striations of the needles inside the chrysoberyl and which are crisscrossing each other, which creates that ray of light, which creates that cat's eye effect. This is the Chetoyancy effect, which is known for the cat's eye. The streak which is highlighting, which is lighting and moving from one side to another side, that is known as Chetoyancy effect. And what are the astrological importance for the cat's eye is, it's helping curing paralysis mania. Also is bestow a lot of wealth and secret means, represent discipline and self-control. And for that reason, many directors, actors and brokers and the poets will see the cats they are wearing cat's eye. What are the general benefit of the gemstones? It's listed here. I think I have already touched them all. Like some represent strength, some represent love, some represent positive powers. So these are the significant features of particular gemstones here listed here. So here I conclude my this session on the 9 planetary gemstones. If you have any questions regarding these gemstones or Navratnas, please go ahead.
Anybody has any questions on gemstones?
Don't ask me which gemstone I should wear. I'm not the astrologer. Any questions regarding gemstones or any experience you want to share with us about your Navratnas or about your buying?
So anybody questions? Good opportunity. The man is here. Difficult to get him later on.
Okay, so I was like pretty much narrative. They don't have any questions. Okay, thank you all for listening to me.
You've covered everything very nicely, so they've understood everything, sir. Thank you, sir. You covered everything in detail. I think when we attend our clients, knowledge is very important. The customer feels if you know things, only then you'll give the right to them. They'll think isko kisi ne kuch aur chipka diya, ye humko chipka raha hai. So better to have knowledge about the product what you are selling. It helps to build trust, customer trust, and that's what is important. And they have courses in Bangalore. You can visit there.
We have a lot of courses in Bangalore. Even the short duration courses like range from 10 hours to 30 hours as well. It's not like you have to go in-depth study, but definitely if you want to go in-depth study, we have a 6-month program Master in Gemology as well. And I just conclude by saying all the listeners and the the business people, that always try to work on ethics. At least charge whatever you want to charge, but say what you are giving. Exactly say what you are giving. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for that nice words for all our businesses. Thank you, sir, for your valuable time, giving us time and giving an in-depth knowledge about gemstones. I'm sure people would like to know in depth about it and come back for the courses. Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable time and in-depth knowledge. I would just want to give you a token of love from the association, sir. A big round of applause for